is this to hire up to the Supreme Court of the breaking of the constitutional rights of freedom of speech and the freedom of my name of protecting and sabotaging.
This is file 241568 SD. You got pulled over on August 21st of 2024 at about 11 o'clock at night. M60 and Hass Road outside of Mendon. You were charged with operating while intoxicated and failing to stop in an assured clear distance. Your blood alcohol was 0.15. Plea offer was related to impaired driving. You pled to impaired driving and the matter was set for sentencing. You were given what we call a timeout probation. You got 12 months probation, which could have been completed in 6 months. 2 days jail, credit 2 days. Ordered you to do the victim impact panel, no drugs, no alcohol, and substance abuse treatment if indicated. Daniel Frazine was appointed to handle this matter. He's filed a probation violation petition alleging that you violated your probation. You have a new drinking driving charge from June of 2025 in Three Rivers. And that in part is the basis for this violation. Mr. Frazine's report shows that we had some struggles getting our testing done and our treatment done. And then you got this new arrest. As I mentioned earlier, it's always an issue regarding a admission and a probation violation when the other case is pending. Mr. George, you represent him on the new case as well?
I don't know that. I checked the court's website today. I don't know that it's been authorized yet, has it?
Yes.
Has it? Has he been arraigned on that yet?
What was the date of the offense in that one, Daniel? Do you know?
I have 6/18.
So I thought he got a no proof insurance on April. All right. All right. So let's further discuss this, Mr. Kuhn. Daniel, his recommendation to the court was revoke your probation and impose 4 days of jail. We haven't been doing very well regarding this probation. And then if we need to do something, and if you do get convicted in the new case, we'll deal with that. I don't even know if it would even be a sobriety court case or what. Mr. George, what does your client wish to do?
I've gone over the petition with my client, and at this point, he wants to have a hearing on the petition.
The new charge contains a couple of the bond violation conditions. 1, not violate any law of any unit of government. 2, don't drink any alcohol. According to the information that Daniel had, you got arrested on June 18th doing donuts in your vehicle. And you had a 0.167 blood alcohol level. So that violates, don't violate any law of any unit of government and don't drink any alcohol. The problem is that case is still pending. And you did come in later and advise Daniel of the arrest. He tried to get you set up for testing at the day reporting center. And then I'm still hoping someone is trying to find that new citation on Ashton Kuhn. And I hope it hasn't been in our system since August. I will be greatly embarrassed. Hopefully they're working on it.
Your Honor, in looking at the misdemeanor complaint and warrant packet prepared by my office, it was charged as an operating while intoxicated second offense.
I just found the complaint was just brought to me today by the officer, so I'll get it in the system.
Okay.
And an open container.
So we didn't have it till August. We just got it today.
As Article 8 and 10 of failing to abstain from the, your allegation is that he failed to abstain from the use of alcohol and drugs or submit to a test. What evidence do you have that he violated those?
Well, the police report for the new charge is admission to me, and I did attempt to put him on a 1 time a week testing at the day reporting center. However, on August 15th, he went in to meet with them to do their intake with them and sign the appropriate paperwork. He told him he would not sign it without his attorney present and never returned and never called me.
So you wanted the defendant on weekly testing, but he failed to comply with initiating that service.
That is correct.
In Article 9, does that say that you are to participate in treatment as recommended?
Yes, he was to get a substance abuse assessment, and to my knowledge, he hasn't had that. And he basically, most of our conversations was he didn't think he needed any help and he didn't want to participate.
Are you gonna arraign him on it? Okay.
All right. So I'm sorry, you wanted him to do a substance abuse assessment and any recommended treatment, and he told you he didn't need it and wasn't going to undergo it?
Yes, I knew there was obviously a possible alcohol issue here, but I also wanted him to get that even more so for some suspected mental health issues that I thought were underlying issues as well.
Thank you. As a defendant, I know it's not within here about whether he was reporting regularly, but did he keep in
He
communication?
was
report?
reporting regularly up until he got the drunk driving, and really he could get easily angered when I approached him trying to help him with getting into services and stuff. He said other people had tried to suggest he get services, he didn't want any help, he didn't need help, he didn't like meds. But he had called and reported. I just was having a hard time getting him into the treatment, which was the next big pivotal for me with him. And then once he got the drunk driving, we had that very frank conversation how sobriety court might be his only avenue for a license for the next 3 to 5 years, and going over what that might entail. He got very upset, in my opinion, was because it was going to be a very laid out, structured, treatment oriented program. And that's what I think happened. And that's why I believe he walked out of our conversation and left.
If I may ask you, Mr. Faison, in addition to the defendant's statements and admissions to drinking and driving, did you have any other evidence regarding that particular alleged violation?
Of the drinking?
Correct.
Other than the police report and his admission to me about that drinking on that offense, no.
Did you reach out then to the law enforcement agency that arrested him?
I got the police report. I believe that the officer called me on this, but I don't have my notes in front of me, so I can't say definitively, but I did get the police report and review that. And I had several conversations with your officers along the way. They told me that it was the department that was holding up the charging. That's why it took so long, but what that was and why I did not know.
All right. And with respect to the blood alcohol of 0.167, did you obtain that out of the police report?
That is correct.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. George, you have any questions?
I do. Dan, when was Ashton placed on probation? So you, at least at the beginning of the probation, your testimony is that you believe that he did have an ability.
I do.
Okay. And I note on your report that you indicate that he had missed a substance abuse assessment and prime for life. Is that right?
For the prime for life, I got in, I think, the end of August. I did get a cert for that finally.
Okay. Was that from Mr. Kuhn or was that from Pivotal?
I believe that was from Mark Olson from Pivotal.
Okay. So has there been a release?
He may have sent me a copy as well. Sometimes they both send it to me, but I can't remember.
Okay. So has there been a release that's been signed to get information from Pivotal, or was that just provided to you?
That was just emailed me, the completion certificate.
Was the prime for life something that was specifically ordered as part of the judgment of sentence?
I don't have that on me. It is a very standard order, but I don't have that. I don't have a copy of the judgment in front of me, so I don't know for sure, but we are allowed to add that if we see needed to.
Okay. And the reason I ask is, was that something that was ordered as the judgment, or was that something that was recommended after a substance abuse assessment?
It definitely wasn't after the substance abuse assessment, because I went through, there is no substance abuse assessment on file or in the notes.
Okay. So on file means that you have access to the Pivotal resources that.
And I would have either spoken to a therapist or they would have emailed me the copy of this.
So you've been able to confirm through Pivotal that he has not completed a substance abuse assessment?
As much as I can. Sometimes they will tell me if there's no RI, they will say I can't confirm or deny at this time, and I don't remember what the conversation was, but I don't have one. And I do have notes that I spoke to him and reminded him several times throughout the probation that I need that.
Okay. Do you know that if he's engaged in any type of mental health treatment at this point?
At this point, I'm unaware of.
Okay. Is it the probationer's responsibility to pay for a test when they go in the test?
Unless they're working with Pivotal. And that's why I explain that and suggest heavily that they can make it work with Pivotal, because they have grant money. And up until 3 weeks ago, they had enough money to pay for most of it. But last month in September, they quite often run out of money and they have to pay for it for that month. And then they get renewed in October. So.
Was Mr. Kuhn ever not able to test? From your knowledge, was he ever not able to test because he couldn't pay for the test?
I do believe that there are a couple issues in the early on that said that he had no money to test. And again, on 3/5/25, defendant was reminded about getting into service for pivotal. He also said he had no money to test. So hence I would have said, well, let's get around that. Here's how we can get around that.
Okay. Do you know how much it would be to test if somebody wasn't engaged at that time?
Back at that time, I can't remember if it was 35 or 40, but it's now 46. I've had a couple increases in this.
And do you know what the documentation is that DRC wants an individual to sign that Mr. Kuhn had an issue with?
No, but I know it's a similar sort of intake process like we would do.
Okay.
Just saying it, this is how it works. We will call you, we'll call you. If we don't get hold of you, we'll leave a message up to call us back and you have to test that day and you'll be responsible for fines if it's not covered.
And that happened in August of this year that you wanted to get them into.
Well, I've been trying for a little while, but when he actually showed up, my email from DRC is dated 8/15
Of this year?
of this year.
Okay. And on your report, it ends with June 26th, is that right? Is the last kind of entry on the report, on the status report that you provided as part of the
yes.
violation?
Yes, I did have a conversation, I think 7/9 and 7/24, I have that he called, but I was out of the office.
Okay.
So I really didn't speak with him then, but so 7/9 would have been the last conversation I would have had with him.
So as Ms. Campfield has said, he has generally reported as
Up
directed,
until
is that right?
this offense, yes. Things
Okay.
went south after that.
Things went south in June?
Yeah, after
Okay.
our conversation on June 24th.
Okay. But then he reached out to you a couple times in July, but you weren't there. Is that right?
One time I was and the other time I was not.
Okay. And then was there contact? I know you had the contact in August as it related to the documents at DRC. Is that right?
Yes, and there was a couple times I tried to call and leave messages or his phone was shut off or his phone was shut off.
Did his number change at some point?
I can only go by what they give me, so I don't know if it changed or if it's a lot of times people, it'll not go through because they haven't paid their minutes.
Okay. I don't have anything additional. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Kuhn, you wanted to have a hearing on this. I'm not exactly clear why, but you're under oath. Mr. George, does your client wish to speak to me?
Based on Article 1 and the allegations in there, I would advise my client not to testify at this hearing.
All right. You have a right to speak. You also have a right not to speak, but anything you say could implicate you in your pending case. So with that in mind, do you wish to remain silent on this subject?
No.
You wish to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Against your lawyer's advice, do you wish to tell me what you want me to know?
Yes.
All right. What do you want me to know?
Speech here. No disrespect to Dan or anybody in this courtroom. I did everything that you have asked me the last time I came in this room. The only thing at Pride that I had not done was the payment. I told you I was homeless and stressed out. I am under emotional stress with money and financial help. I do not have a home, been on the streets for a year. That's not the point, but forgive me for my wording, it's not correct. Like being accurate and precise. I have the strength to say this because I'm honoring me and my family's name and God's name. The last time we had this courtroom, and Dan actually pulled me aside. He said before this, he said, I need you to come to the basement with me. Next thing you know, I'm all soft and going out and ready for Mr. Tim and get my paperwork from Mr. Tim. Next thing you know, I see Mr. Dan talk to my grandfather, and it looked pretty sketchy. I walked in back prior into the room where there's a TV and a camera where I'm not advised if it's on or not. But this man sabotaged my name, disrespected me, said I'm never going to be successful, never going to be this, never be that. I don't know how to precise wording to remember because I try not to because it stresses me out. And
What is this at the time of your original plea or more recently when you came?
that was the last court case we've had together.
All right, when I did your arraignment.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And just to get off my chest, he pulled me on the other side, kind of stood over me, kind of got a little spit of his when he's talking to me, and I stood there and stood firm, and I'm trying to let it go right now because it's not irritating, but why I'm thinking about it is because this man was saying, "Oh, you could get mad, you could get mad," and it frustrates me. I'm emotional. I'm stressed out. I looked up to this man. I'm not gonna lie. I looked up to this man. I talked to this man for 5 hours about God. The very first time I've ever talked to this man. I talked to him every time. He's always on vacation, always say, how you doing? And I took it to a personal offense. From the last time I talked to him, I looked into him. He was like, who are you? What's your name? And I took it personal, I took it personal saying, I thought you knew me, Mr. Dan. And he said, I don't know you. And he kind of looked at me like scum.
Well, he didn't know this version. None of this rises to a defense. Let's back up. You rear-ended a guy on M60 when you were
12
drunk.
months prior, 1 year.
Very near to where more than one fatal accident, very near where you hit this guy. There was another fatal accident within maybe a half a mile of there.
Yes, sir. Am I able to-
Stop. So that's serious stuff. You almost killed somebody and yourself. And there was uncertainty about whether you were trying to kill yourself. Your girlfriend and her mother had a concern that what you were doing was trying to commit suicide. We had a young girl this week, she wanted to commit suicide. She pulled out in front of a semi and seriously injured the semi driver. So he's physically debilitated, but she didn't die. So she's charged with reckless driving causing a serious injury, which is a 5-year felony. So let's assume you were just drunk and not trying to kill yourself, that you passed out or fell asleep and you rear-ended this guy. That merits court supervision. Dan and I had several discussions about you. You are young. You are a man of faith. You were repentant about what happened. And we were going to try to do this probation. I think Dan was frustrated with you. And then this stuff happens. You're driving like a fool in the parking lot of the Old Three Rivers Hospital, drunk, doing donuts. You think no one's going to notice that? You're 0.18. I'm embarrassed that it took from June 11th, June 17th to now. You went to jail. This is an old Dave Marvin holdover. They wanted a complaint. You went to jail. You sobered up. They let you go, and you didn't get an arraignment date. So some time later, the officer submits it to the prosecutor's office. There's no blood test. They're not waiting for anything. You took a breath test that night. If this had been an OUL first offense, it would have just been dealt with. Anyway, I don't like this process. Ms. Davis inherited it. This isn't the way I did it. At any rate, so you get out. A week later, you did tell Dan. At some point, it gets into the prosecutor's office, and they authorize it on August 26th. So it sits there for a while until the officer came and swore to it today. So we just got the complaint today. So I'm going to arraign you on your new charge here in a minute. But so Daniel discussed with you sobriety court. And he told you the cold hard fact that if you get 2 convictions of drunk driving, your driver's privileges are going to be revoked, meaning no driving for at least 5 years until you get the Secretary of State to reinstate your license. The only way to get your license back is to go through a sobriety court program. I don't think you're ready for a sobriety court program. I think there's some underlying mental health and depression issues. And maybe I'd be depressed too if I was homeless, didn't have where to go, and had relationship problems and no job. But the answer to that problem isn't getting drunk and doing donuts in the parking lot of the old hospital. So right now we're just dealing with the probation violation issue. And then in a minute, I will arraign you on the new case. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
So prior with everything that you said that I have not done, because you have not known, I have done everything that was asked before I came into court and before then prior. Though I do not know the officer's name directly, but I have been here in the courthouse, done the first thing that was set up to go, serve my 3 days in jail.
Yes.
And then I have done beyond the point, not for the satisfaction of the systematic government, but for God and family and friends. I have stood tall, and I'm a sober man. I'm a clean man. I'm an honorable man. I've been through trials and struggles. That's none of the business. It's truth of my testimony. I have I'm very clean. I'm just emotionally distressed only on financial stress, where I am homeless and I'm here to try to take care of
All
my
right,
dog.
well, your grandpa brings you here, and I always appreciate that. Who lives on Hutchinson Road?
So my mother and my father, my dog's in the back seat of my truck that we live in right now, with water and clean. I do not live with my family as a normal man and a humble man. I don't want to be around family because I'm stressed out and don't want to lean on somebody that I can't lean on, because may someone not know the strength of it. So I rather keep to myself humble.
What's your status with the girlfriend?
Status with girlfriend, unknown.
You're not with her now?
I cannot say for that for right now, for that's personal relationships that I'm working on with God.
All right. When did you last work at the Jones farm?
Joe's Farm, I've worked there, great company. I've worked there for a summer. I'm not very known of months. I don't keep track of this. No, I don't care for it. I worked there, and after that, I was out on the streets. I lived in my suburban.
All right, but this was summer we just had. When did you last work somewhere for pay?
Bayer, actually, the hat that I have is on the seat back there. I've worked for Bayer. I filed into unemployment.
What is Bayer?
Bayer is that place we talked about last time, that big facility on the right side. It's a world company.
Oh, Bayer.
Yes, sir.
All right, and what did you do there?
Right there was test plants.
All right, and when did you last work there?
Unknown. Like I said, I do not keep track of dates, but I don't believe in that.
This is now October. We just went through September. Did you work anywhere in the month of September?
I can't recall because I don't remember dates, because I just don't believe in it.
How'd you like it if they put you in jail and they forgot what day it was, and you got 4 days and
Unemployment.
84 days later they let you out? I didn't think those questions were that hard, but you're living in your truck. Where do you get money?
Where I get money?
Yeah.
Family, as much as I can. I ask for the bare minimum. I do not have the confidence to ask somebody for money, but that's not my place.
Well, the fact that you don't have a job and the fact that you don't have any money are related. If you had a job, you'd have some money. But all right, I find that the defendant has, by a preponderance, violated the terms of his probation. He acknowledged that he drank and drove and got arrested. And that was the #1 condition of the probation. That's not a corpus delicti issue because Mr. Friesen has independent evidence that the defendant drove from the police. I don't know what you were doing, and I don't want to talk about that case yet. But you're struggling all right, and part of your struggle is a mental health struggle. And I sure would like to get some addressing of that. I find that the defendant failed to pay any fines and costs. However, he doesn't have any money, but he didn't pay any money. He failed to abstain from the use of drugs and alcohol, which is a violation by his own admission. He failed to participate in treatment, although he tried to do some of the things we ask you to ask him to do. So I'm going to revoke this probation, Mr. Kuhn. Where is your dog right now?
In my truck.
Can somebody take care of your dog?
No.
I'm not lock your dog in the truck for 4 days. You're going to jail for 4 days.
Grandfather, can you take her?
I mean,
Call mother. You better take care of Raven.
I was supposed to be leaving yesterday.
Well, just call mother, man. That's my dog.
All right, we'll make sure your dog is cared for.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
By any means, is this to hire up to the Supreme Court of the breaking of the constitutional rights of freedom of speech and the freedom of my name of protecting and sabotaging. And as the foremost, that is everything recorded through everything that's there. It's justified in my actions and my honor and the way I speak. I'm not irritable nor I'm angry. I'm disappointed and stressed out, emotional, financially insecure. I'm protected by the constitutional rights, and I was sabotaging my name. I'm sabotaging my emotional distress, which is a lawsuit, and it's forbidden in the Constitution and in the court systematically.
Well, I agree with you, Mr. Coon.
Yes,
You are
sir.
sabotaging your name and you are sabotaging your name, your reputation.
Negative. Forgive me, Your Honor. I have freedom of speech that I can stand in the honor of God, for God is above all, which is a freedom of my religion, which I'm stood by and protected by the Constitution of my rights. This is a breaking of the constitutional rights back and
I
forth.
don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I think we've got some significant mental health issues here. I'm going to order, the probation is revoked. I'm going to waive your fines and costs. Daniel's recommendation was 4 days jail, and I think it's appropriate. You crashed into some guy and nearly killed him. You did a poor job on your probation. You got arrested for very foolish behavior in June. I do regret it took from June to October to get the thing to arraign you, but we're going to address that in a minute. I'm going to get you a lawyer on that.
Your Honor,
Yes.
we haven't run on this before, but his grandfather said the dog doesn't like him. I'm guessing he's afraid of it and or poses a risk to him, so he doesn't want to help with that, and which I understand.
What
But
kind
we
of
might
dog?
have to get, we might have to get that pound or the.
All right, or
control.
either I have to let him turn himself in.
I was thinking maybe we just get the keys so they don't have to like break the window to get the dog.
My keys are unlocked, and you can call PD.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a black lab German shepherd, the sweetest girl. She only barks, but she don't bite.
Well,
You can call PD, Three Rivers. They'll take care of her, please, for the love of God, because they're the greatest.
well,
people
I'm
I've
not
met.
gonna leave your dog locked in the car outside,
Just one.
for 4 days. Well, let's set this aside for a minute. I'm going to arraign you on your new arrest. You got arrested in Three Rivers on June 17th for operating while intoxicated in the parking lot of the Old Three Rivers Hospital. It's alleged that that is a second or subsequent offense because you have this conviction in file 241568. Making that a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. And it requires that your license be revoked. Mr. George is here to make sure we're complying with your rights, but he's not your attorney in this case. I'll show that you plead not guilty. I'm going to appoint an attorney. I'm going to set an attorney pretrial for November 7th, 2025 at 8:30. You've already been arrested. I'm gonna set a $500 PR bond. So that's the new case, and I apologize that it took so long to get from there to here. But the good news is you didn't get arrested out on the street. You happened to be here for court, and I took care of the arraignment. So let's go back to the other case. I have found that you violated your probation. And as of this minute, you're still on probation. I'm going to order 4 days jail. We're going to have to schedule it. I don't want your dog to be left out here alone. You're going to have to make arrangements to board your dog. I'm going to start the jail at 7 o'clock on Friday night. I'm not doing very well by you. What I intended to do was put you in jail right now, call our mental health liaison to meet with you and see what's going on. But I'm going to have another crack at you in the context of the new case. Your probation is continued until further notice of the court because I want no alcohol conditions, and I'm not making them part of the bond. I'm making them part of this. Probation is continued. You're sentenced to 4 days, credit 0, leaving 4 days to be scheduled as a weekend, starting at 7 p.m. this Friday night, which would be October 3rd. Can you find some place to board your dog by Friday night?
Yes, sir.
7 p.m. As I said earlier, sometimes there's no good answer to a problem. Mr. Kuhn, this is not meant to be an insult or demeaning, but I think you need some mental health treatment. We try to get some. You're very stressed. You're living in your truck. You're not working. the person primarily responsible for your well-being is you. This isn't somebody visited this on you. You're making very poor life choices. I think some of it has to do with the status of your mental health. So it isn't like somebody did this to you. You're doing it to yourself. You've estranged yourself from your family. You can't keep a job. That's not healthy behavior to be living in a truck with your dog. It's about to get real cold. Your dog deserves better than that. So I need to get in here and figure out what's going on. The other issue is whether you'll ever have a driver's license or not. I don't think in your current state you're ready to do sobriety court. Friday, October 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Report for 4 days jail. Now, if you don't report, it violates your probation. I have to just give you the rest of the 93 days. As soon as we do this 4 days and get to the other thing, I'm inclined to revoke his probation. I'm not going to charge any additional money. I'm not even going to make you report. I just want you to have a no alcohol condition. And at some point, if I can get the opportunity, I'm going to order some mental health evaluation. If it weren't for your dog, you'd go right now. That's not your grandfather's obligation to care for your dog. And I don't want the dog to go to the dog jail, which we've done more than a few times. There was one guy who, I won't say his name, but he got arrested often. And his dog was so comfortable, they just opened the door and the dog would go get in the patrol car. He'd go to jail and the dog would go to the pound, and then he'd get out of jail and go get his dog. I think the dog had more sense than he did, but I think he and the dog may have both passed. All right, you got it. You got to show up for jail at 7 o'clock Friday night. You got 4 days to do. You're still on probation. You got a new case where I've appointed a lawyer for you. You're going to need to go out and get the paperwork for that. The court date on that is November 7th. I'd like to get you to a better place than where you are right now. So I'm going to have the court officer take you out. Here's your notice to appear at the jail. Oh, I gave it to you. And arrange on the new case. That's the new case. This is the old case. Thank you. Daniel, stick around for a minute. All right, this goes with the old case. All right, I'm going to be seeing you on November 7th. We'll see how you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you.